Ladies and gentlemen, gather your wigs, clutch your pearls, and pour yourself a stiff drink, because what I'm about to tell you makes the Kardashians look like they're running a daycare. Love and hip-hop. Atlanta just detonated like a stick of dynamite, and at the center of the blast, none other than Mendeecees Harris. Yes, you heard that right. The man who's made a career out of staying calm, staying quiet, and keeping his business on mute just broke his silence. And baby, when Mendeecees finally talks, he doesn't just whisper. He unloads like he's been holding a decade's worth of tea in a pressure cooker. For years, fans have accused him of standing in the background like an extra in his own life, letting Yandy carry the drama while he played the supportive husband role. But now, he's tossing that image straight into the trash like last season's wigs. This is no soft clapback. This is an explosion. I'm talking raw confessions, buried secrets, and clapbacks so sharp they could slice through steel. And the fallout? It's so big, so messy, so delicious. It's got ATL buzzing like a beehive dipped in Red Bull. Stay locked in, because what Mendeecees said will have you gasping. Did he really just say that on camera? To really understand the magnitude of this moment, you have to appreciate Mendeecees' entire brand up until now. He was always the quiet storm of love and hip-hop. You know the type, the man who lurks in the back of the shot, nods wisely during arguments, and somehow dodges the mess while everyone else is rolling around on the floor like they're auditioning for WrestleMania. Fans used to joke that Mendeecees had only two modes, stoic and smiling politely. He was the calm in the hurricane, the one guy who didn't jump on Instagram Live every 5 minutes with cryptic shade. If reality TV was a circus, he was the dude holding the popcorn, not the one fighting the lion. But every silent man has his breaking point. And baby, Mendeecees reached his, it started subtly. A few weeks back, whispers began swirling that Mendeecees wasn't happy with how the narrative was being spun on the show. The storyline had him looking like the passive husband while Yandy played the star general, battling every cast member like the queen of Sparta. Some fans even dragged him online, calling him Yandy's background prop. Harsh? Yes. But in the reality TV world, perception is power, and Mendeecees was tired of looking powerless. So when he finally spoke, he didn't hold back. On the latest episode, cameras caught him at a sit-down that was supposed to be casual. Instead, he opened his mouth and set off fireworks. His words? Straight daggers. He admitted he'd kept quiet because he thought it was the classy thing to do, but now he realized silence just let people rewrite his narrative. And if there's one thing Mendeecees wasn't about to let happen, it was being branded as weak in the ATL jungle. Then came the bombshell. He claimed that some cast members, yes, plural, had been feeding lies to producers to keep their own storylines alive. He exposed the entire machine, saying folks were manufacturing drama and using his name as collateral. Translation: people had been cashing checks off dragging his image while he sat in the shadows. That's when fans' jaws hit the floor. Because you know what reality TV stars fear most? Being called out for being scripted. Mendeecees essentially blew the whistle on the entire love and hip-hop formula. And he didn't stop there. Oh no, he turned his sights inward toward Yandy. Yep, he went there. In one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the episode, Mendeecees implied that even Yandy wasn't always innocent when it came to stirring the pot. He didn't outright slam her, but the subtext was clear. Even his own wife sometimes played into the machine. The room froze. Fans at home froze. Twitter exploded. Suddenly, Mendeecees wasn't just breaking silence, he was breaking alliances. The internet went nuts. Memes flew like confetti. One viral tweet said, "Mendeecees just spoke more in 5 minutes than he has in 5 seasons." Another joked, "This man held a TED Talk at brunch while everyone else was screaming." And the hashtags? Mendeecees Unleashed started trending in Atlanta, but while fans were cackling, others were shook. For years, people had begged him to speak up, to show more personality. Now that he did, they weren't ready. It's like asking your quiet uncle to finally tell a story at dinner, and then realizing he's got mafia-level secrets. The other cast members' reactions were priceless. Some nodded like, "Finally, he said it." Others looked like they'd just seen their credit score drop 200 points. And Rashida? Whew, she was sipping that champagne so fast you'd think she was trying to drown in it. Behind the scenes, word is producers were stunned too. Mendeecees wasn't supposed to flip the script this hard. They wanted him to open up, not dismantle the entire system on camera. But guess what? Once you uncork that bottle, the champagne flows. And Mendeecees popped it like it was New Year's Eve in Times Square. Fans immediately split into camps. Some applauded him for keeping it real, calling it the most authentic moment in love and hip-hop history. Others dragged him for throwing Yandy under the bus, even slightly, arguing that he'd broken the one unspoken rule: don't mess with the queen's crown. But whether you loved it or hated it, one thing was clear: Mendeecees had changed the game. The man who was once accused of being invisible had just become the headline. And in the world of reality TV, that's the ultimate glow-up. The silence was gone. The storm had arrived. And trust me when I say this, what followed made the initial explosion look like child's play. Because if Mendeecees thought speaking his truth would bring clarity, he underestimated how messy reality TV can get. His words set off a chain reaction of chaos that not even VH1's editors could contain. The floodgates were open, and Atlanta, it was about to drown in the drama. When Mendeecees dropped his truth bomb, the ripple effect wasn't a ripple at all. It was a tsunami. Within hours, Atlanta was on fire. The internet was in shambles, and the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise was scrambling like someone had just cut the Wi-Fi at the reunion. Because here's the thing. When someone like Mendeecees, a man who's built his image on being silent, finally speaks, it's louder than 10 castmates screaming over a broken bottle of Hennessy. His words hit different, and people listened. Celebrity reactions, it didn't take long before celebrities jumped in. Spice went live immediately after the episode and cackled like a villain in a telenovela. She said, "Mendeecees out here spilling more tea than Lipton." About time. Her live was flooded with laughing emojis and fans chanting, "Tell us more!" K. Michelle, never one to whisper, tweeted, "Y'all mad Mendeecees told the truth? Y'all should be mad y'all lied this long." Boom. That tweet had the internet clutching pearls. Because if K. Michelle agrees with you, you know you either did something incredibly brave or incredibly messy. Even Safari had to chime in, posting on Instagram, "Mendeecees the quietest man in the room. But when he speaks, it's..." Fans roasted Safari in the comments, saying, "Sir, go back to juggling coconuts." But still, his post added fuel to the fire. And then, of course, the rappers. One ATL rapper tweeted, "Mendeecees moving like Ghost from Power, low-key, then boom, he's running the whole show." Fans took that analogy and ran wild, photoshopping Mendeecees into power posters. Within 24 hours, Mendeecees St. Patrick was trending. The meme factory. The memes were unstoppable. TikTok creators reenacted his speech like it was a Shakespeare monologue. One viral skit had a girl dressed as Yandy, sipping wine nervously, while another guy dramatically quoted Mendeecees with thunder sound effects in the background. Twitter went full Mortal Kombat, with edited clips of Mendeecees' speech ending in "finish him." Memes compared him to Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift. "I'ma let you finish," but the real tea is, one fan made a side-by-side of Mendeecees before and after the speech. On the left, a silent monk. On the right, Denzel in Training Day screaming, "King Kong ain't got nothing on me!" Public outrage, but not everyone was laughing. Some fans were furious that he dragged Yandy into the mix, even subtly. Twitter threads popped up accusing him of betraying the woman who held him down. Others defended him, saying Yandy wasn't above critique just because she played the loyal wife role on TV. The debate turned savage. People were writing dissertations in the comments like they were defending a PhD thesis. One fan wrote, "Mendeecees speaking out isn't betrayal, it's accountability. Silence protects lies." Another clapped back. "Nah, he made Yandy look weak on national TV. That's not love, that's sabotage." The online civil war had begun. Pamba Team Mendeecees versus Han Team Yandy. And like every great war, there were spies, flip-floppers, and casualties in the comments section. Industry fallout. The drama wasn't just social media deep. Word spread that some producers were panicking. See, reality TV thrives on scripted-looking chaos, but the one thing they never want is a cast member breaking the fourth wall too hard. And that's exactly what Mendeecees did when he exposed manufactured drama. Rumors leaked that execs had an emergency meeting. Some wanted to spin his comments into a storyline, others wanted to muzzle him before he turned into the franchise's whistleblower. But let's be real, you can't unring this bell. Meanwhile, sponsors started sweating. A hair care company allegedly pressed pause on a collab with the show because they didn't want to be associated with toxic male energy. The irony? Fans immediately pointed out that this show has thrived off toxic energy since its pilot episode. Still, the threat of losing coins made the producers sweat like they were on Maury waiting for paternity results. The pop culture analogies. The internet compared this moment to everything under the sun. Some said Mendeecees was the Will Smith at the Oscars of love and hip-hop. Calm, collected, and then suddenly nuclear. Others said it was giving Beyoncé dropping Lemonade. Because once the truth bomb dropped, nothing was the same. One viral TikTok compared Yandy and Mendeecees to Jay-Z and Solange in the elevator. One calm, one storming, and the fans caught in the middle. Even Netflix Twitter got in on it, joking. Petition to give Mendeecees his own docuseries. Quiet Man, Loud Truths. Thousands liked it because honestly, we'd all watch. The cast reactions? Now, here's where it gets extra spicy. After the episode aired, other cast members started choosing sides publicly. Carly Red posted a cryptic Insta story. Funny how the quiet ones got the loudest skeletons. Fans immediately assumed she was shading Mendeecees. Sierra Gates, on the other hand, jumped in with, "Sometimes silence ain't golden, it's dangerous. Speak your truth, King." Translation? She was firmly in Darb Team Mendeecees. And Rashida? Rashida didn't post a word, but she liked a comment under her picture that read, "Mendeecees finally woke up. About time somebody said it." That one little heart sent fans spiraling. Escalation to chaos by now. The feud wasn't just a storyline, it was a movement. Fans were organizing Twitter spaces just to debate his comments. YouTube reactors were pulling in hundreds of thousands of views breaking down every syllable he said. Reaction channels called it the quietest mic drop in reality TV history. Even radio shows picked it up. One Atlanta host said on air, "Mendeecees broke silence like Moses broke tablets. He rewrote the rules of the game." And let's not forget, Yandy herself wasn't going to stay quiet after that bombshell. In true Queen of Damage Control fashion, she went live the next day. Looking flawless, sipping her tea, she said, "I love my husband, but I don't always love his delivery. We'll talk at home." The shade. She made it clear she wasn't backing down, but she also wasn't about to give producers more ammunition. But fans weren't fooled. The comments flooded with, "Sis, blink twice if you're mad." It was official. The Harris household had become ground zero of the love and hip-hop universe. And yet, despite the chaos, one undeniable truth emerged. Mendeecees had broken out of the background. He was no longer Yandy's husband or the quiet one. He was a headline, a movement, a trending topic, and if part 2 was this messy, wait until you see the fallout in part 3, where the consequences hit reputations, relationships, and ATL's reality hierarchy like a wrecking ball. When Mendeecees broke his silence, it wasn't just a mic drop. It was a bomb, and the aftershocks rattled every corner of love and hip-hop Atlanta. If part 2 was the explosion, part 3 is the wreckage. The dust cleared, the smoke settled, and what we saw left ATL looking like a battlefield after a reality TV apocalypse. Reputation fallout. Let's start with Mendeecees himself. On one hand, he was hailed as a hero. Fans praised him for pulling back the curtain, for refusing to let producers, castmates, or even his own wife box him in as the silent husband. People flooded his comments with love, calling him a truth teller, a real one, and even the MLK of love and hip-hop, because apparently, fighting for your image is now a civil rights moment. Exaggeration? Yes. Hilarious? Also, yes. But praise always comes with backlash. Others accused him of being messy for messy's sake. One fan wrote, "Mendeecees waited 10 years just to snitch on brunch? Boy, bye." Another said, "If he wanted respect, he should have dropped an album, not a speech." The split was brutal. Half the internet crowned him king. The other half dragged him like he owed them rent money. And poor Yandy, her reputation took a hit. Fans couldn't unsee the shade Mendeecees implied about her role in the drama machine. She went from being the respected mastermind of the franchise to someone painted as complicit in the mess. Even her loyal stans were side-eyeing her, writing, "We love you, sis, but why he gotta expose you too?" It's the curse of reality TV. Your greatest ally today can turn into tomorrow's storyline villain. And unfortunately for Yandy, that villain edit was creeping up fast. Relationship strain. And what about their marriage? People were speculating harder than conspiracy theorists at Area 51. Was Yandy mad? Was Mendeecees sleeping on the couch? Did this speech expose cracks in their picture-perfect love story? Gossip blogs started pushing narratives of trouble in paradise. The Shade Room dropped a post asking fans if they thought Yandy and Mendeecees could survive the fallout. Thousands of comments poured in. Some swore they were too solid to be shaken. Others said this was the beginning of the end, predicting divorce before the next reunion. One wild rumor even claimed Yandy unfollowed Mendeecees for 2 hours, then refollowed him, sparking full-on fan theories. Screenshots circulated like crime scene photos. Fans were analyzing her likes, her captions, even her emojis like detectives solving a case. CSI, Instagram edition, .cast. Dynamics meanwhile, the rest of the cast wasn't safe from the fallout either. With Mendeecees exposing castmates for feeding lies to producers, paranoia set in. Suddenly everyone was side-eyeing each other. Friendships cracked. Allegiances shifted. The group chats were allegedly on fire with accusations of who leaked what. Carly Red, always quick to insert herself, posted, "Funny how people act brand new when the truth comes out. I been new." Translation, she wanted everyone to think she had inside knowledge. Fans rolled their eyes but ate it up anyway. Rashida, still being shady with her likes and reposts, leaned into the chaos by posting a selfie captioned, "Boss chicks don't worry about whispers, they handle business." The subliminal? Clear as day, and let's not forget Safari, because he never misses a chance to stay messy. He went live saying, "Man, I love this energy. It's like Avengers Assemble, but for shade." Fans dragged him, but the damage was done. This feud had officially become bigger than any single storyline. It was infecting the whole franchise. Industry fallout behind the cameras, producers were panicking but smiling at the same time. On one hand, Mendeecees exposing the machine threatened to unravel the illusion they'd carefully built. On the other hand, ratings were skyrocketing. The episode featuring his speech pulled the highest numbers of the season. Advertisers were suddenly lining up like it was Black Friday. But here's the kicker. Sponsors tied directly to Yandy and Mendeecees weren't all happy. A fashion brand reportedly re-evaluated its partnership with Yandy after fans flooded their comments with Team Mendeecees hashtags. Meanwhile, a men's lifestyle brand allegedly approached Mendeecees for a deal, capitalizing on his new truth-teller image. That's reality TV capitalism at its finest. Turn chaos into coin. Cultural impact, let's talk impact. Because this wasn't just a storyline, it was a cultural moment. People were talking about Mendeecees' speech at barber shops, in beauty salons, even at the church pews. One pastor allegedly slipped it into a sermon. "Even the quiet man must speak his truth, amen." The congregation screamed like he'd just quoted scripture. Memes kept flooding the internet. TikTok creators did Silent Mendeecees versus Unleashed Mendeecees skits. Twitter crowned him the new voice of reality TV. YouTube reactors milked the content dry, some even calling it the most shocking ATL moment since Stevie J's rat face. And here's the real gag, brunch in Atlanta, ruined. Every brunch spot in ATL had people posting pics captioned, "Hoping Mendeecees don't pop off here." The man turned Eggs Benedict into a cultural landmine, the cliffhanger future. And now, the million-dollar question, what happens next? Fans are speculating like crazy. Will Yandy retaliate with her own bombshell? Will Mendeecees double down and spill even more tea? Will producers try to silence him? Or will they hand him the crown as the new franchise MVP? The reunion looms like a storm cloud. Everyone knows it's going to be the bloodbath of the century. Fans are already betting money on who cries first, who storms off stage, and whether Mendeecees will keep his composure or unleash part 2 of his speech. But one thing's for sure, the days of Mendeecees being the silent one are dead. He went from background character to headline act in one episode. And in the ruthless ecosystem of reality TV, that's the ultimate glow-up. So here we are. ATL shaken, reputations dented, marriages questioned, producers scrambling, and fans thirstier than ever. Mendeecees didn't just break his silence, he broke the entire show wide open. And trust me, the aftershocks, they're just beginning. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how one quiet man flipped Love and Hip Hop Atlanta upside down like a cheap wig in a windstorm. Mendeecees went from background furniture to headline chaos in one episode, and now ATL can't breathe without mentioning his name. The man didn't just break his silence, he broke the whole franchise's illusion. But let's be real, you already know this is just the beginning. Reality TV never ends with a clean bow. It ends with cliffhangers, rumors, and reunions where people scream over folding chairs. So don't think this story is done, oh no. This is just season 1 of Mendeecees Unleashed, and the sequel is gonna hit harder than a Nicki Minaj subtweet. Now, before you go running off to stalk Instagram lives for hidden meanings in Yandy's captions, do me a favor, smash that like button like it owes you child support. Hit subscribe harder than Rashida hits a subliminal. And for the love of chaos, turn on notifications, because the scandals don't sleep, and neither do we. Around here, the tea is always boiling, and if you blink, you'll miss the next meltdown. Drop your takes in the comments. Is Mendeecees a hero for finally speaking out, or is he the villain who just shook his own marriage? Is ATL ready for him to step into the spotlight, or should he crawl back into the shadows? I want to hear your hot takes, conspiracy theories, and meme ideas. This channel thrives on your messiness as much as VH1 does. This is ERUPTS, signing off with one final truth. In ATL, silence isn't golden. It's just the pause before the explosion.